One of the surprise hit movies of a few years ago was Oh, God, comedy starring George Burns in the title role. Burns played God as a sort of deified Will Rogers, coming up with homespun philosophical insights, masking his intelligence behind a facade of simple common sense. Now George Burns is back again in a sequel called Oh, God, Book 2. And this time he singles out a wide-eyed little girl to be his earthly messenger.
Tracy, it's me again.
What? What?
That wasn't a dream you had. It was real.
Where are you?
In the back seat. Well, disappointed?
Oh, gosh, no. God, sir, why would I be disappointed, sir? Are you really God, sir?
Forget the sir. Just plain God, the owner of the store, also known as the man upstairs.
I don't know, but somehow I thought you'd look holier and more fancy, sort of. I mean, like with a crown and a long beard and a flowing white robe.
You're thinking of Charlton Heston.
I can't get over it. It's just that I guess I expected you to look much older.
Thanks, Tracy. I take care of myself.
How old are you?
Who knows? After the first 2 million years, I stopped counting. It's awkward talking like this.
Wow, how'd you do that?
If I could part the Red Sea, I can certainly move to the front of a car.
You know, I wonder if it ever gets a little scary to George Burns that he plays God so convincingly. George Burns has come down to earth again to ask that little girl to create an advertising campaign promoting God's Word. But little Tracy gets into trouble since she's the only one who can see God and talk to him. Everybody else thinks she's only talking to herself.
I've been so busy doing your stuff, I haven't done any homework.
Let me see what you got there.
About a zillion problems to make up, that's all.
Let me see, maybe I can help you. Mathematics. That was a mistake. Should have made the whole thing a little easier.
You make mistakes?
Nobody's perfect. I blew it with the Dead Sea. All that salt, no life in it. And the flamingo, beautiful bird. And I put the kneecaps on backwards. And I think I could have found a better way for a skunk to defend himself.
And you sure goof with the giraffe.
Giraffe?
Why'd you make the neck so long?
She could eat the leaves off the trees.
Why didn't you just make the tree shorter?
Where were you when I needed you?
I like that scene, but Oh, God, Book 2 would have been a much better movie if more scenes had involved that charming and innocent relationship between George Burns and the little girl. Unfortunately, the movie gets badly sidetracked into a moronic subplot. Little Tracy's teachers and parents get worried when they think she's talking to herself. They make her see a psychiatrist, then they want to send her to a mental institution. Meanwhile, all the kids back at school hold a strike in support of Tracy, and the movie, which starts out delightfully, ends up being very long and very slow and utterly, completely predictable.
Well, you go after the subplots, I'll take the main story on. I think this is just a cheap sequel and does the same kinds of things as the original film did, only less so. Instead of building on that original film where John Denver, a supermarket manager, is visited by God, and God ends up convincing Denver and a lot of other people that God is around and interested in the world. Instead of building on that, all they do is replay it with the little girl and give us miracles that are less exciting and dialogue with Burns that is less funny. And it's a cheap sequel to mean nothing more.
You know you're in trouble when you talk about less exciting miracles.
Right.
What I kept thinking was, if God did decide to come back to Earth, he probably would not come back as a character in a situation comedy. And that first film, even though it was a comedy, had kind of a serious core to it.
Yes, it did.
It wasn't a religious movie, but it had a certain spirituality to it. It kind of dealt with what would happen if God came back down to Earth again and called us all to order, you know. And this one, it's as if they started out and said, okay, God's coming back to Earth, what'll we do now? They were bankrupt of ideas, and they gave us all of this stuff about the teachers, the psychiatrists, and so forth. It's a great premise for a movie. Why did they blow it?
Well, I think it's the sequelitis. I don't think they even try very hard here. I think also that sequels do a big damage to the movie industry. I think that when the public is roped into seeing a sequel, hoping it'll be as good or even better than the original, and they get one of these cheap, quickie rip-offs, especially with a star like George Burns in it, who has so much goodwill. I think this hurts the movie industry, revealing it as very venal and out to make a quick buck.
I agree.
Roger and I each give 2 no votes to Oh God, Book 2, a dismal comedy with George Burns and not much else. It's another rip-off sequel that doesn't come close to the original. 2 no votes means we can't recommend you see Oh God, Book 2.